everyone. I'm Sophie and I will be your astrologer today. And first, I just wanted to share what I'll be going over. And first of all, thank you, Shelby, for that amazing sound bath. That felt really good. So I'm going to be going over what a birth chart is, a little bit of intro into sacred astrology, which is the astrology that I am practicing. I'm going to look and explain about the moon cycles and how that can be connected to our cycle as women, and also how to work with the moon, and also some information about the Aquarius new moon that we have this week on Thursday. So I'm going to share my screen. Right. Okay. So sacred astrology is the astrology that I am practicing, and that is built around using the birth chart as a tool for self-knowledge that leads to self-understanding, self-acceptance, and self-admiration. And this is based on the 8 planets, the 12 zodiac signs, and the 12 houses. So it's built like a circle, and where the 12 houses are divided into areas where our life is played, sort of. So, for example, the 7th house is about love life and relationships, and the 10th house is about our career path. And it's all built around transits, and that is how the planets are positioned and move in the sky above us, and how that is then related to our birth chart. I like to say as above, so below. So what's going on with the bodies above us when they meet and create different energies, it will affect us down here on Earth, because we are the universe. We're a part of the universe, and each and every one of us are a little universe. So the birth chart to me is a tool to understand ourselves. And then astrology can be divided into personal astrology and mundane astrology, where personal astrology is what I practice, and that is looking into the birth chart and transits and how that impacts a person on an individual level. So you can look into what you need to feel emotionally secure, or an example of a possible career path for you, depending on how your planets sit in your birth chart. And then we have mundane astrology, which is when an astrologer look more into world events, country events, big planetary events. So, for example, some astrologers would look into the American election and how that would go. And other astrologers said that they could predict, for example, COVID, like this pandemic. They could see that from an astrological perspective. And one example of a transit that affects us all is the moon. The moon is visible from our Earth, and with its cycle comes a magical way of tapping into its energies. The moon is my favorite planet just because I think to me it symbolizes divine femininity. She's the universal mother, and her cycle teaches us that no matter what phase the moon is in, she's always whole, but you can't see it all the time. So to me, that's really inspired me to, even on days when I feel a little small in this world, I am still whole, and also to trust the cycle of life with all its ups and downs. So the moon cycle has 28 days, and just like a woman's menstrual cycle is approximately 28 days. So just like the moon is a cyclical being, so are we. And I find this also super interesting with us as women, and how, depending on where we are in life, if we are wishing to have a baby or if we are in the process of a lot of self-work, we align with the moon depending on what we are striving towards in our life. So it can be divided into white, red, purple, and pink moon woman. So the white moon woman, she bleeds with the new moon. She's in sync with Mother Earth, and she's fertile with Mother Earth. Her focus is a desire to have children, or maybe she's mothering a lot. She's bleeding with the new moon, and she's giving space for what she truly desires in life. Then we have the red moon woman, and she bleeds with the full moon. Focus for her is empowering herself and others. They are the healers and the wisdom keepers. Maybe she's postponing being a mother, or mothering children is something that she has already complete. She's fertile with the moon. She's fertile with the new moon, and she births the mysteries of her own inner darkness. Then we have the purple moon woman, and she's the inner wild woman, represented by the season of fall. She might be experiencing a need of self-reflection, time for herself. She's fierce and unpredictable. She's looking for her direction before blooming out into the world. And finally, the pink moon woman, she bleeds with a waxing moon, and that is when the moon is growing. So right after the full moon. The waning moon is when the moon is shrinking, but I'll touch on that soon. So the pink moon woman, she bleeds with the waxing moon. She's the inner maiden, represented by the season of spring. She's playful in nature. She might be experiencing some spiritual growth. She is growing and expanding in a new direction. She's curious and open to the world. Which woman are you? And know that this will change. As a woman, we will basically more or less go through all of these different phases depending on where we are in our lives. Right, and how to work with the magic of the moon. And I like to view my moon practice as if I'm having an internal garden. And like Shelby mentioned before, this has a lot to do with manifesting, right? So I view it as my internal garden. During the new moon, I set the intention and I plant my seeds. I do this in stillness. The dark moon is represented by the energy of yin. So it's a time to focus inward, and yin energy is inward focus. So planting your seeds and allowing them to mature within me before I move them forward into the world. And the first quarter moon, that's when the moon is half full. This is when doubt might arise. So I go back and revisit my intentions. I meditate and I trust myself. Then we have the full moon, and this is when we are unstoppable. The energy is young, and its direction is outward. It's going after. It's having everything that you could ever imagine, letting everything go and allow love to just be the main energy in your life. And I like, if we go back to the image of the garden, I like to see the full moon as around the time when I weed my garden. So I look into what flowers are blooming properly, have some weed popped up, or maybe some flowers didn't bloom the way I wished for. So I'll take them out and I'll redo it next cycle. Because that's the beauty of the cycles of the moon. I plant some flowers that will bloom quickly and then they're over. Like I wish to have this job, and then it's out. But then I also have flowers that, like a beautiful bush of roses, that I keep for a long time. I keep nourishing those energies in my life. For example, feeling free or feeling good about myself. Right, and then we have the waxing period and the waning period. The waxing period is when the moon is growing, and this starts 3 days after the new moon, a period of about 2 weeks. And this is when we move our intentions forward, make that call, connect with others, go after what you want, nourish your seeds. What does your seeds need to bloom? And the waning period is when the moon is shrinking, starting 3 days after the full moon. And that's also a period of 2 weeks. So this is a period when you're supposed to finish your project, don't really start new one, celebrate how far you have come, and view mistakes as learning opportunities. So the waxing period is of yang. This is when the moon is growing. This is when we're supposed to show ourselves in the world and go after what we want. The waning period is when the moon is shrinking. It's going from yang towards yin. So a time to slowly start to turn inward and finish projects. And to be mindful around, the thumb rule is that the new moon is of yin and the full moon is of yang. But also be mindful where you are. Where is your cycle? When do you bleed? So be mindful of what energy that you have within you. What do you need so that you can meet the moon? So tension doesn't occur. Right, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about the new moon in Aquarius that we have now on the 11th of February. Her energy is yang, her element is air, and her position is fixed. So unlike us humans who strive to balance yin and yang for our bodies and our spiritual bodies to feel good, the zodiac signs embody one. They are dominant in one element, in one energy. So Aquarius is a true freedom seeker. She goes after what she wants. She walks to the beat of her own drum. And sort of during the sound bath now, when we all met our higher selves, right? You can totally view Aquarius as a version of your higher self. She's the one walking to the beat of her own drum, standing proud in her light. She also understands that each and all of us are needed in this world. And her element is air, and air represents our thinking mind. So this new moon has a lot to do about expanding our minds. So remember how the new moon energy is yin. So it's important for us to ground in our bodies, but allow our minds to expand. And her position is fixed, and that means that despite that she's so in the search of freedom and she's bursting with ideas, she can have a hard time making up her mind. So be mindful around this. This new moon is not for knowing. It's more about the feeling of freedom. How does freedom feel in your body? It's the moon of sisterhood, the moon of belonging. It's the weird moon and the free moon. And I added weird moon just because, to me, when you find your frequency, that quirky energy that is pure you, that is, to me, when you are allowing your weirdness to shine into the world. And if you find your frequency where you are 100% you, other weirdos will find you. So, and that is how you gather your tribe of people. And that is how we can rise the vibration together. Yes. I just wanted also, before I finish, to talk a little bit about other planets that are connected with this moon. So just like we share energies down here on Earth between humans, the bodies above us, like the planets, they also share energies when they meet in the skies. So a little side note that I wanted to add too around energies, and because this new moon will be such a high frequency, it will create a different experience for all of us, depending on your relationship with the element air based on your birth chart. So some people will feel very anxious, other people will feel really free, other people will feel trapped or scared. So we'll have all them feels, and I'm a highly sensitive person, so I pick up energy super easy. And something that I've learned is to ask myself, is this energy mine? Because sometimes we pick up anxiety from someone, maybe when we're on a public transport, and if the energy is not yours, it will be gone as soon as you acknowledge it. So by asking, is this energy mine? You can then easier let go of unwanted energies. So that's a little side side note, we will have a lot of funky, twisted, quirky energy in the skies. Again, Aquarius is all about this walking to the beat of your own drum, but in perfect harmony with all. We have a total of 6 planets in Aquarius. As of Wednesday, we will have 6 planets in Aquarius. That is when the moon also shifts into our Aquarius. So the fact that there's 6 out of 8 planets in Aquarius really amplifies the power of this moon. Again, it's really, truly all the themes of Aquarius. Sisterhood, lifting each other, seeing each other, being inspired by each other rather than comparing. How can I see that I am unique and have something to offer, and so do you? And by seeing rather than comparing each other, we will lift each other. So set intentions with the aim for freedom on a collective level by being yourself. And finally, I wanted to bring up 2 aspects, and an aspect is when 2 planets meet. So this moon will meet with the planet Mercury and Mars and create some tension. So first, when the moon meets Mercury, we will have some tension between our internal world and our thinking mind. Mercury rules the way we communicate and the way we think. It's the planet of communication, and the moon rules our internal world. So both Mercury and the moon will be in Aquarius. So a good question to ask is, how does freedom feel? Mercury is currently retrograde, and that's a whole other lecture. But what you need to understand now is simply that when a planet is retrograde, it operates on a different frequency, giving us a new lesson to learn. If we view all the planets as if they are trying to give us lessons in life, when they go retrograde, they give a different frequency. When Mercury is in retrograde, it's a time to slow down and listen. Listen inward. Are you your inner cheerleader, or are you your worst bully? How do you communicate with yourself? And finally, we have Mars meeting, the moon meeting Mars as well, also creating some tension. And Mars is the planet of action, and it's currently in Taurus. And Taurus is an earth sign. So despite all this high frequency air, we are striving for freedom. Really tap into Mars. Planet of action is asking us to slow down. When you view Taurus as working or taking action, you can imagine a farmer on the field plowing with horses. You know, the job is getting done, but it's not happening fast, but it's getting done. Taurus is strong and stubborn. She enjoys her work. So truly, under this moon of Aquarius, tap into being able to enjoy your work. And if you aren't able to enjoy your work, maybe you have too much on your agenda. Taurus also loves rewards. So while Taurus is in Mars, I truly recommend you all to, if you have things you need to do, write a to-do list, and then when you're done, give yourself a little reward. Taurus loves that. So just, your favorite snack, or buy you that clothing item that you really want. So this is not a moon for acting. It's a moon for setting intentions for a better world for all of us. And I feel like my internet is a little slow now. I just wanted to show my final slide. Right, so finally, I also wrote some journaling prompts. I'll just do this. There we go. Right, so finally, I just wrote some journaling prompts for you all to focus around during this Aquarius new moon. And you can journal 2 days before, prior to the moon, and 2 days after. That's how long the energies will be felt for. So find a quiet space and just, maybe meditate or settle within your body. Allow your mind to be open for new opportunities, and ask yourself, what does freedom mean to me? In what areas of my life do I feel free or stuck? What is holding me back? And are other people's opinion about me preventing me from shining, and how? And why? I wish you all a happy new moon, and know that you are the answer.